The alarm bells rang through the medical station like screaming metal birds. Dr. Han Wol Kim dropped his coffee cup and ran to the observation deck. Through the thick glass, he saw something that made his heart stop. A massive ship was coming toward them. It was black as space itself, covered in scars and burns from recent battle. The ship looked like a giant predator floating through the stars. Han Wol had seen many alien ships before, but never one that made him feel so small and afraid. Dr. Kim, Lieutenant Sojin Park's voice was shaking as she ran up behind him. It's a Korthak war vessel. They're requesting emergency medical help. Han Wol felt his blood turn cold. The Korthak were legends across the galaxy. They were 3 meters tall with red eyes that glowed like fire. Their claws could cut through steel and their teeth could bite through bone. No human had ever seen one up close and lived to tell about it. What do they want? Han Wol asked, though he already knew the answer would terrify him. They have a dying cub, Sojin said. They want us to save it. The medical station orbited a beautiful blue planet called Kepler 442b. It was a neutral zone where all species could come for help. But the Korthak had never come here before. They solved their problems with violence, not medicine. Han Wol watched as the black ship moved closer. Its docking arms reached out like the legs of a giant spider. The station shook as the ship connected with a loud crash. Red lights flashed in the docking bay, warning everyone that dangerous aliens were about to board. "Doctor, we need to prepare," said Dr. Minho Lee as he joined them at the window. Minho studied alien biology and knew more about different species than anyone else on the station. But even he looked worried. "I've read about Korthak anatomy, but we've never treated one before." "What do we know?" Han Wol asked. "They have 3 hearts instead of 1. Their bones are made of some kind of crystal material. Their blood is purple and burns like acid if it touches human skin." Minho's voice was getting faster as he spoke. "Their nervous system runs on electrical signals that would kill us instantly." Han Wol nodded. As the chief medical officer of the station, he had treated many strange aliens before. Fish-like creatures from water worlds, beings made of living gas from the outer rim, even rock people from the asteroid belt. But the Korthak were different. They were warriors who had conquered half the galaxy. "Sir, they're coming aboard now," Sojin said. Her hand was shaking as she held her communication device. The docking bay doors opened with a loud hiss. Steam poured out like smoke from a dragon's mouth. Then Han Wol saw them. The first Korthak warrior stepped through the doorway. He was enormous, bigger than any human Han Wol had ever seen. His skin was dark gray with patterns like battle scars. His eyes glowed red in the dim light. He wore armor that looked like it was made from the bones of his enemies. Behind the warrior came another figure. This one was even larger and covered in more scars. Golden rings hung from his ears and nose, marking him as someone important. In his massive arms, he carried something small and still. "That must be the cub," Minho whispered. Han Wol could barely see the small creature wrapped in dark cloth. It looked tiny against the huge warrior's chest. The cub was not moving. The warriors walked through the station like they owned it. Human staff members pressed themselves against the walls, afraid to get too close. The Korthak's claws clicked against the metal floor with each step. Security Chief Jin Woo Kang met them at the entrance to the medical bay. Jin Woo was a big man who had served in the military, but he looked like a child next to the aliens. His hand rested on his weapon, though everyone knew it would be useless against creatures like these. "I am Warlord Korax of the Bloodclaw clan," the larger warrior said. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stone. "This is my heir, my only cub. It is dying." Translator Yunbi Song stepped forward with her electronic device. The machine turned the alien's words into human language, but it could not hide the pain in his voice. "We have tried everything," Korax continued. "Our healers have failed. Our medicines do nothing. The cub grows weaker with each passing hour." Han Wol stepped closer, fighting every instinct that told him to run. "What happened to the cub?" "Plasma fire from a Valian battlecruiser," Korax said. His red eyes burned with anger. "The coward targeted my ship while my cub was on the bridge. The burns are deep. They will not heal." The warlord looked down at the small bundle in his arms. For a moment, his fierce expression softened. Han Wol saw something he never expected to see in a Korthak warrior. The look of a worried father. "Why did you come here?" Han Wol asked. "Your people have never sought help from humans before." Korax was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper. "Because we have heard stories. Stories of human healers who can work miracles. Who can save lives that others would give up on? He looked directly at Han Wol. You are small and weak. Your weapons are pathetic. Your ships are slow. But your medicine, he paused. Your medicine is spoken of with respect even among my people. Nurse Yujin Choi had been preparing the examination room. She came out and nodded to Han Wol. We're ready, Doctor. Han Wol looked at the dying cub in Korax's arms. He could see just a small furry face peeking out from the cloth. The cub's breathing was so shallow it was barely visible. I need to examine the cub, Han Wol said. Will you let me? Korax's grip tightened on his precious cargo. The other warrior's hand moved to his weapon. For a moment, Han Wol thought they might change their minds and leave. Then Korax spoke. If you can save my cub, I will owe you a debt that can never be repaid. If you fail, he let the threat hang in the air. If I fail, I'll have tried my best, Han Wol said. That's all any doctor can promise. Korax studied Han Wol's face for a long time. Then slowly, he followed the human doctor into the examination room. The other Korthak warrior waited outside, standing guard like a statue made of muscle and bone. In the examination room, Korax carefully placed his cub on the table. Han Wol got his first clear look at the small creature. It was about the size of a human baby, covered in soft gray fur. Its face was like a cross between a cat and a lizard, with tiny horns just starting to grow from its forehead. The plasma burns were terrible. They covered most of the cub's chest and stomach. The fur was burned away, showing skin that was black and cracked. The smell of burned flesh filled the room. What is the cub's name? Han Wol asked as he began his examination. Sharptooth, Korax said. It is a strong name for a strong warrior, but Sharptooth did not look strong now. The cub's breathing was getting weaker. Its small body was hot with fever. When Han Wol touched the burns gently, the cub did not even react. Dr. Minho came in with his scanning equipment. The machines beeped and hummed as they tried to understand the alien biology. The readings made no sense according to human medicine. The damage is extensive, Minho said quietly. The burns have penetrated deep into the internal organs. There's damage to all three hearts and the nervous system. Han Wol looked at the scan results. In a human, these injuries would be fatal. But this was not a human. This was something completely different. Can you save it? Korax asked. His voice was steady, but Han Wol could see the fear in the warlord's red eyes. Han Wol looked at the dying cub, then at the desperate father, then at his team of doctors and nurses. They all looked scared but determined. This was why they became doctors, to save lives no matter how impossible it seemed. We'll try, Han Wol said. But I need you to understand, we've never operated on a Korthak before. We don't know if our medicines will work. We don't know if our equipment is compatible with your biology. Korax nodded slowly. I understand. But you are our last hope. If Sharptooth dies, my bloodline ends. Without an heir, my clan will fall into civil war. Millions will die. The weight of those words settled on Han Wol's shoulders like a heavy blanket. He was not just trying to save one small life. He was trying to prevent a war that could tear apart the galaxy. We'll need to operate immediately, Han Wol said. It will take many hours, maybe all day and all night. I will wait, Korax said. However long it takes. As the medical team prepared for surgery, Han Wol took one last look at little Sharptooth. The cub's eyes opened briefly, golden eyes that looked so much like its father's but without the anger. Just trust and hope. Han Wol made a silent promise to those golden eyes. He would not give up. No matter how long it took, no matter how impossible it seemed, he would fight for this small life until his own strength gave out. The medical team gathered in the preparation room next to the operating theater. Han Wol looked at each of his colleagues, knowing that what they were about to attempt had never been done before. Dr. Minho Lee spread out his research on the table. Pages of alien anatomy diagrams covered every surface. His hand shook slightly as he pointed to different parts of the Korthak body structure. Look at this, Minho said. A Korthak has 3 hearts, but they don't work like human hearts. The first heart pumps blood to the brain. The second heart handles the body organs. The third heart is connected to their electrical nervous system. Nurse Yujin Choi studied the diagrams with wide eyes. How do we keep all 3 hearts working during surgery? We don't know, Minho admitted. If any one of those hearts stops for too long, Sharptooth will die. Dr. Yunwoo Nam, the trauma surgeon, looked at the burn patterns on the medical scans. The plasma fire has damaged all 3 hearts. It's also burned through the cub's stomach, liver, and something that looks like lungs but isn't exactly lungs. What do you mean? Han Wol asked. Korthak don't breathe air exactly like we do, Hyun Woo explained. They process different gases. Their lungs filter electrical energy from the air and feed it to their nervous system. The burns have damaged the system badly. Anesthesiologist Dr. Jae Hwan Seo was studying chemical formulas on his computer screen. His face was pale with worry. This is the biggest problem, he said. Normal anesthesia will kill a Korthak instantly. Their blood chemistry is completely different from ours. Then how do we put the cub to sleep for surgery? Yujin asked. I don't know yet, Jae Hwan said. I'm trying to figure out something that will work, but I need more time. We don't have more time, Han Wol said, looking through the window at little Sharptooth lying on the examination table. The cub's breathing was getting weaker every minute. Dr. Tae-jun Park, their blood specialist, was running tests on a small sample of Korthak blood that Korax had allowed them to take. The blood doesn't clot like human blood, he reported. It's more like liquid metal. If we cut into the cub during surgery, the bleeding might not stop. Can we make something to help it clot? Han Wol asked. Maybe, Tae-jun said, but I'll have to create it from scratch. I've never seen anything like this blood before. Neurologist Dr. Soo-min Han was studying brain scan readings that made no sense. The nervous system is the strangest part, she said. A Korthak's brain runs on electricity like a computer, but it's living electricity, not like anything we understand. What does that mean for surgery? Han Wol asked. If we disrupt the electrical flow to the brain even for a few seconds, the cub could suffer permanent damage, or die instantly. The team stood in silence, each person understanding how impossible their task was. They were trying to save an alien life form that was completely different from anything they had ever studied. Every choice they made could kill the small creature they were trying to help. There's something else, Minho said quietly. According to my research, Korthak cubs have a different relationship with pain than adult Korthak. Adults can ignore almost any injury, but cubs feel pain much more intensely. What does that mean? Yujin asked. It means that if we cause Sharptooth pain during surgery, the shock could kill him even if everything else goes right. Han Wol felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Outside in the corridor, Warlord Korax was waiting. The massive alien had not moved from his spot by the operating room door. He stood like a statue, but Han Wol could see the tension in his powerful shoulders. Dr. Kim, Security Chief Jin Woo Kang, appeared in the doorway. The Korthak warlord wants to speak with you. Han Wol found Korax exactly where he had left him. The alien warrior's red eyes followed every movement in the medical bay. When he saw Han Wol, he spoke in his deep, rough voice. How long? Korax asked. How long for what? Han Wol replied. How long until you know if my cub will live or die? Han Wol thought carefully before answering. The surgery will take many hours. Maybe 18 hours or more. Even then, we won't know for sure if Sharptooth will recover. Korax nodded slowly. In my culture, we have a saying. The greatest warriors are not those who win quickly, but those who fight longest against impossible odds. Your cub is a fighter, Han Wol said. Even now, he's fighting to stay alive. Yes, Korax agreed. But he is small and weak. He needs your strength now. Through the translator, Korax told Han Wol about his son, how Sharptooth was the last of the royal bloodline, how the cub loved to play with small mechanical toys instead of weapons, how he had bright golden eyes that showed curiosity instead of anger. He is not like other Korthak cubs, Korax said. He asks questions instead of roaring challenges. He watches the stars instead of practicing with claws. I think he will grow up to be different from me. Different how? Han Wol asked. Maybe he will bring peace instead of war, Korax said quietly. Maybe he will build instead of destroy. But only if he lives. The conversation was interrupted by Dr. Jae Hwan, who came running out of the preparation room. Dr. Kim, I think I found something. Back in the preparation room, Jae Hwan showed them his discovery. I can't use chemical anesthesia, but I found something else. Korthak nervous systems respond to specific sound frequencies and electromagnetic fields. You mean we can put the cub to sleep using sound and magnetism? Han Wol asked. Exactly. It's like how some animals go into hibernation when they hear certain sounds. I can create a field that will keep Sharptooth unconscious without poisoning his blood. Will it work? Yujin asked. I think so, but we'll have to be very careful. Too much and we could damage his brain. Too little and he'll wake up during surgery. Dr. Tae-jun had been working on the blood clotting problem. "I think I can make something that will help control bleeding," he announced. "It's based on the minerals I found in the Korthak blood sample. It won't work exactly like human blood clotting, but it should slow down any bleeding during surgery." Dr. Sumin had been studying the electrical nervous system. "I have an idea for keeping the brain activity stable," she said. "We can use the station's power grid to supplement the cub's nervous system during surgery. It's dangerous, but it might work." "Dangerous how?" Han-Wol asked. "If we get the electrical flow wrong, we could fry the cub's brain. But if we don't do anything, the nervous system will shut down anyway." Han-Wol looked around at his team. Each person had found a possible solution to an impossible problem. But each solution was risky and untested. "All right," he said. "Let's prepare for surgery. Dr. Jae-hwan, set up your sound and magnetic field equipment. Dr. Tae-jun, prepare your clotting compound. Dr. Sumin, work with the engineers to connect the power grid to our neural monitoring equipment." "What about surgical tools?" Dr. Hyunwoo asked. "Normal scalpels and lasers might react badly with Korthak biology." "We'll use the finest tools we have," Han-Wol said. "And we'll move very slowly and carefully." As the team prepared the operating room, Han-Wol went back to check on Sharptooth. The small cub was lying very still on the examination table. His breathing was so shallow it was hard to see. Korax was still standing guard outside the room. When he saw Han-Wol, the warlord's expression showed a mixture of hope and fear. "We're ready to begin," Han-Wol told him. "But I need to be honest with you. This surgery has never been attempted before. We're going to try things that might not work. There's a good chance that my cub will die," Korax finished. "I understand. But you are trying. That is more than anyone else has offered," Han-Wol nodded. "We'll do everything we can." "I know you will," Korax said. "I have seen your medical records. I know about the Zephyrian diplomat you saved when everyone said it was impossible. I know about the crystal people you healed when no one understood their biology." "You do not give up. How do you know about those cases?" Han-Wol asked, surprised. "Because the Korthak watch everything," Korax said. "We study our enemies and our potential allies. We know that humans have something we do not have." "What's that?" "Hope," Korax said simply. "You believe you can solve problems that seem impossible. That is why I brought my cub here. Not because you are the strongest or the smartest, but because you never stop trying." Han-Wol felt the weight of that trust. This proud warrior who could crush Han-Wol with one hand was trusting him with the most precious thing in his life. "There's one more thing," Korax said. "If my cub dies, it will not be your fault. You are risking much to help us. That courage will not be forgotten, regardless of the outcome." But Han-Wol was not thinking about politics or alliances. He was thinking about a small wounded creature who trusted him to make the pain stop. As he walked back into the operating room, he made another silent promise. Sharptooth would not die on his watch. Whatever it took, however long it took, he would find a way to save this small life. The greatest battles were not fought with weapons, but with skill, determination, and the refusal to give up when everything seemed hopeless. The surgery was about to begin. The operating room hummed with strange new equipment. Dr. Jae-hwan had set up speakers and magnetic field generators around the surgical table. The sound they made was too low for human ears, but Han-Wol could feel it vibrating in his chest. "Beginning anesthesia," Jae-hwan announced. He slowly increased the sound frequency and magnetic field strength. On the monitors, they watched Sharptooth's brain activity change from the chaotic patterns of pain to the steady waves of deep sleep. "It's working," Dr. Sumin said with relief. "The cub is unconscious and his nervous system is stable." Han-Wol looked down at Sharptooth on the operating table. The small creature looked even tinier under the bright surgical lights. His gray fur was soft and clean where it wasn't burned. His little chest rose and fell with steady breathing. "All right, team," Han-Wol said. "Let's save a life." Dr. Hyunwoo made the first incision. The Korthak skin was tougher than human skin, almost like thin leather. Purple blood began to seep from the cut, but Dr. Tae-jun's clotting compound worked to slow the bleeding. "First heart function is stable," Nurse Yujin reported, watching the monitors. "Second heart showing stress but still working. Third heart is the problem," Dr. Sumin said. "The electrical damage is severe. I'm going to need to connect the power supplement soon." Han-Wol carefully opened the cub's chest cavity. What he saw inside was unlike anything in medical textbooks. The 3 hearts were arranged in a triangle, each one a different size and color. They beat in a complex rhythm that seemed almost musical. Incredible, Dr. Minho whispered. The hearts are connected by what looks like fiber optic cables made of living tissue. Those cables carry electrical signals between the hearts, Dr. Sumin explained. The plasma burns have severed several of them. Hanwol examined the damage more closely. The burns had created holes in 2 of the hearts and damaged the connecting cables between all 3. In a human, this would be instantly fatal. How do we repair living electrical cables? Yujin asked, very carefully, Hanwol said. Dr. Sumin, I need you to guide me. Tell me exactly how to reconnect these systems. For the next 3 hours, Hanwol worked with microscopic precision, using the finest surgical tools. He cleaned away burned tissue and began reconnecting the damaged electrical pathways. Dr. Sumin called out instructions while monitoring the electrical flow. Move the connector 2 millimeters to the left, she said. Now connect it to the blue pathway, not the red one. I can barely see what I'm doing, Hanwol said. Sweat was dripping down his face despite the cool operating room. You're doing fine, Dr. Minho assured him. The connections are holding. But then the monitors started beeping frantically. Sharptooth's second heart was beginning to fail. Blood pressure is dropping, Yujin called out. We're losing him. The heart muscle is too damaged, Dr. Hyunwoo said, examining the organ. There's a hole completely through the wall. Hanwol looked at the damaged heart. In a human, they could use artificial patches or transplant parts from a donor. But this was a Korthak heart, unlike anything that existed in their medical supplies. Wait, Dr. Taejun said suddenly. What if we use the Cub's own healing ability? What do you mean? Hanwol asked. I've been studying the blood samples. Korthak blood has incredible healing properties, but only if it's activated properly. If we can stimulate the natural healing process, how do we activate it? Dr. Sumin asked. Electrical stimulation combined with specific chemical triggers, Taejun said. But we'll need to keep the heart beating while the healing process works. Hanwol looked at the failing heart. It was a huge risk. They would essentially be gambling that the Cub's natural healing could repair damage that looked impossible to fix. Do it, he decided. We don't have any other options. Dr. Taejun began preparing a mixture of chemicals based on his analysis of Korthak blood. Meanwhile, Dr. Sumin set up electrical stimulation equipment connected to the station's power grid. This is going to be tricky, Sumin warned. Too much electricity and we'll kill the Cub. Too little and the healing won't activate. I trust you, Hanwol said. Begin stimulation. A gentle electrical current flowed through the damaged heart. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly the edges of the hole began to change. New tissue started growing at a speed that amazed the medical team. It's working, Yujin said in wonder. The heart is actually healing itself. But the process was not smooth. Every few minutes the healing would stop or go wrong. Hanwol had to manually guide the growing tissue, shaping it with delicate tools while Dr. Sumin adjusted the electrical flow. Blood pressure is stabilizing, Dr. Hyunwoo reported. The second heart is getting stronger. Good, Hanwol said, but we still have 2 more hearts to repair. As they worked on the third heart, the most damaged one, complications began to mount. The electrical nervous system that Dr. Sumin was supplementing started to overload. I'm getting feedback from the power grid, she warned. The Cub's nervous system is trying to draw too much power. What does that mean? Hanwol asked while carefully cleaning burned tissue from the third heart. It means his brain is trying to heal itself too fast. If I don't reduce the power, it could cause seizures or brain damage. But if you reduce the power, the heart repairs will stop working, Dr. Taejun said. Hanwol paused in his work. They were caught between 2 impossible choices. Give the brain the power it needed and risk killing the Cub with seizures, or reduce the power and watch the heart repairs fail. There has to be another way, he said. Dr. Minho, who had been quietly studying the monitors, spoke up. What if we cycle the power? Give full power to the heart repair for a few minutes, then switch to brain support, then back again? That's incredibly risky, Dr. Sumin said. The transitions could disrupt both systems, but it might work, Hanwol said. And it's better than watching Sharptooth die because we can't make a decision. They began the delicate power cycling process. For 10 minutes, full power went to the heart repair systems. The third heart began healing rapidly, new muscle tissue growing to replace the burned areas. Then they switched power to the brain support systems, keeping the nervous system stable. Back and forth they went, cycling power between the two critical systems. It required perfect timing and coordination between Dr. Sumin and Dr. Taejun. Switching to heart repair in 3, 2, 1, Sumin would call out. Heart healing is accelerating, Taejun would report. Good tissue growth, no complications. Switching to brain support in 3, 2, 1. Nervous system stable, no seizure activity detected. For 6 more hours, they continued this careful dance. Hanwol's hands never stopped moving, repairing tissue, connecting pathways, and guiding the healing process. His back ached from bending over the operating table, and his eyes burned from staring at tiny details under the surgical lights. Doctor, you need to take a break, Yujin said gently. You've been operating for 9 hours straight. I'm fine, Hanwol said, though his hands were beginning to shake from exhaustion. The cub is stable for now, Dr. Hyunwoo said. Dr. Nam and I can take over for an hour while you rest. No, Hanwol said firmly. I started this surgery and I'm going to finish it. Sharptooth trusts me. I won't leave him. Outside the operating room, Warlord Korax continued his vigil. He had not moved from his position by the door. Other Korthak warriors had joined him, creating an intimidating wall of muscle and armor in the corridor. Security Chief Jinwoo reported that the aliens had been completely peaceful. They did not eat, did not speak, did not even seem to breathe. They just waited like statues carved from living stone. How much longer? Jinwoo asked Dr. Lee when he came out to check on supplies. Many more hours, Minho said. The doctor is performing miracles in there, but each miracle takes time. Back in the operating room, they had successfully repaired 2 of the 3 hearts. But the first heart, the one that supplied blood to the brain, was the most challenging. The damage here is extensive, Hanwol said, examining the organ. It's not just burns. The plasma fire actually melted part of the heart muscle. Can we regrow melted tissue? Dr. Taejun asked. I don't know, Hanwol admitted, but we have to try. They began the most delicate repair yet. The melted tissue had to be completely removed and regrown from scratch. It was like performing surgery on a miniature construction project, building a new heart 1 cell at a time. This is taking too long, Dr. Sumin warned. The cub has been under anesthesia for 12 hours. Even with our electromagnetic system, there are limits to how long we can keep him unconscious. How much longer do we have? Hanwol asked. Maybe 6 more hours. After that, the risk of permanent brain damage becomes very high. Hanwol looked at the partially repaired heart. They had made good progress, but there was still so much work to do. 6 hours would not be enough. Then we work faster, he said. Yujin, I need you to anticipate what tools I'm going to need. Minho, help guide the tissue growth process. Yunwoo, monitor all the vital signs. What about you, doctor? Yujin asked. You've been working for 12 hours without a break. Hanwol looked down at Sharptooth's small face. The cub looked peaceful in sleep, but the monitors showed that his life was still hanging by a thread. I'm not tired, Hanwol lied. And even if I was, it doesn't matter. This little one is counting on us. As the 13th hour of surgery began, Hanwol pushed his exhaustion aside and hour 15 arrived like a dark storm. Hanwol's hands shook from exhaustion as he worked on the most damaged heart. His vision blurred occasionally and he had to blink hard to focus on the tiny surgical field. Doctor, please, Nurse Yujin pleaded. You need rest. Your hands are trembling. I'm fine, Hanwol insisted, but even he could hear the exhaustion in his voice. Dr. Hyunwoo stepped closer. Hanwol, as your colleague and friend, I'm telling you that you're pushing beyond safe limits. Let me take over for just 1 hour. No, Hanwol said firmly. I can feel Sharptooth's life in my hands. If I stop now, I might lose that connection. Dr. Minho looked at the monitors with growing concern. The cub's biological systems are becoming unstable. The long surgery is putting stress on organs we haven't even touched yet. What kind of stress? Hanwol asked while carefully removing more damaged tissue. His digestive system is shutting down. His immune system is weakening. Even his fur is starting to fall out from the trauma. Dr. Sumin checked her electrical monitoring equipment. The nervous system is showing signs of fatigue too. The power cycling is working, but it's like running a marathon. Eventually, the body gets tired. Dr. Taejun made a discovery that changed everything. Wait, he said, studying blood test results. I think I found something important. What? Hanwol asked without looking up from his work. The cub's healing factor is slowing down, but not because it's broken. It's slowing down because it's missing something. Missing what? Emotional connection, Taejun said. According to these readings, Korthak healing is partly controlled by psychological state. The cub is unconscious, but some part of his mind knows he's separated from his father. Dr. Minho looked at the data. That's fascinating. The healing process is partly mental, not just physical. What does that mean for us? Yujin asked. It means we need to establish some kind of connection between Sharptooth and his father, Taejun explained. Or the healing will continue to slow down until it stops completely. Hanwol paused in his work. How do we connect an unconscious cub to his father through an operating room wall? What if we don't? Dr. Suman said quietly. What if we connect the cub to someone else who cares about him? Everyone looked at her. What do you mean? Hanwol asked. You, Suman said. You've been fighting for Sharptooth's life for 15 hours. You care about him. What if we could create a neural connection between you and the cub? Is that possible? Minho asked. Theoretically, yes, Suman said. We're already supplementing the cub's nervous system with external power. We could modify the system to include human brain patterns. What are the risks? Hanwol asked. Unknown, Suman admitted. You could experience everything the cub is feeling, pain, fear, confusion. If something goes wrong with his nervous system, it could affect yours too. You could die, Dr. Hyunwoo said bluntly. Hanwol looked down at Sharptooth. The small cub's breathing had become even more shallow. The monitors showed that his healing processes were indeed slowing down. Do it, Hanwol said. Hanwol, think about this, Yujin protested. You're exhausted. Connecting your nervous system to an alien's could be extremely dangerous. Everything we've done today has been dangerous, Hanwol replied. But look at him. He's dying not because we can't fix his body, but because he needs to know someone cares about him. Dr. Suman began modifying the neural monitoring equipment. This will take me a few minutes to set up. Are you sure about this? I'm sure, Hanwol said. Sharptooth has been fighting for his life for 15 hours. The least I can do is fight alongside him. While Suman worked on the neural connection equipment, the rest of the team continued the surgery. They had made remarkable progress on the heart repairs, but there was still delicate work to be done. Ready? Dr. Suman announced.
I've created a modified neural interface.
It should allow limited connection between your consciousness and the cubs. She showed Hanwol a thin headband with wires leading to the monitoring equipment. Put this on and I'll slowly establish the connection. Hanwol placed the device on his head. At first he felt nothing different. Then gradually he became aware of something else in his mind. It's working, he whispered. I can feel him. The sensation was strange and wonderful. Hanwol could sense Sharptooth's presence like a small warm light in the darkness. The cub was afraid and hurt, but also incredibly brave. The healing processes are accelerating again, Dr. Taejun reported with excitement. The connection is working. But with the connection came unexpected challenges. Hanwol began to feel the cub's pain as if it were his own. Every surgical cut sent waves of discomfort through his body. The fear and confusion of being unconscious in a strange place filled his mind. Doctor, your vital signs are spiking, Yujin warned. Your heart rate is matching the cub's. I'm okay, Hanwol said, though he was clearly struggling. Keep going with the surgery. As the connection strengthened, something remarkable happened. Hanwol found that he could send feelings back to Sharptooth. Feelings of safety, comfort, and determination. He began to project calm thoughts toward the frightened cub. It's going to be all right, little one, he whispered, though he knew Sharptooth couldn't hear his words. You're safe. People who care about you are working very hard to help you get better. The monitors showed an immediate response. Sharptooth's stress levels decreased and his healing processes became more efficient. This is incredible, Dr. Minho said. The psychological support is actually improving the physical healing, but the strain on Hanwol was enormous. He was now experiencing every aspect of the surgery from the patient's perspective, while also trying to perform the delicate operations himself. Doctor, you're sweating heavily, Yujin observed. Your hands are shaking even more now. I can handle it, Hanwol said, but his voice was strained. Dr. Hyunwoo made a difficult decision. I'm taking over the surgical work. You focus on maintaining the connection with Sharptooth. No, I need to finish what I started, Hanwol protested. You are finishing it, Hyunwoo said gently. But now your job is to be the link that keeps Sharptooth fighting. Let me handle the physical repairs. Reluctantly, Hanwol stepped back from the operating table while maintaining the neural connection. Dr. Hyunwoo took over the delicate heart surgery with steady, practiced hands. Talk to him, Dr. Sumin suggested. Even though he's unconscious, the connection might carry your voice to some level of his awareness. Hanwol began speaking softly to Sharptooth, sharing thoughts and feelings through their unusual bond. Your father is waiting for you, he said. He's been standing outside this room for 16 hours, never moving, never giving up hope. He loves you very much. Through the connection, Hanwol felt Sharptooth respond to the mention of his father. A wave of love and longing flowed through the link. He told me you're different from other Korthak cubs, Hanwol continued. He said you like to ask questions and watch the stars. He's proud of that difference. More responses came through the connection. Curiosity, affection, and a deep bond between father and son that transcended species. When you get better, you're going to have many more questions to ask and many more stars to watch, Hanwol promised. But first you need to keep fighting. Can you do that for me? Can you keep fighting? A surge of determination flowed through the neural link. Sharptooth's young mind was responding to Hanwol's encouragement with renewed will to live. The healing processes are working at optimal efficiency now, Dr. Taejun reported. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But the connection was taking its toll on Hanwol. He began to feel dizzy and disoriented. The boundaries between his own consciousness and Sharptooth's were becoming blurred. Dr. Kim, your neural patterns are synchronizing too closely with the cubs, Dr. Sumin warned. If this continues, you could lose your individual consciousness. What does that mean? Yujin asked. It means Hanwol could become permanently connected to Sharptooth's mind. He might not be able to disconnect. Would that kill him? Dr. Minho asked. I don't know, Sumin admitted. This has never been attempted before. Hanwol heard the conversation, but it seemed distant and unimportant. The connection with Sharptooth felt natural and right. The cub's mind was fascinating, young and curious, but also surprisingly wise. I can see through his memories, Hanwol said dreamily. He remembers playing with mechanical toys. He remembers asking his father why stars are different colors. He remembers the moment the plasma fire hit their ship. Doctor, you need to maintain some separation, Dr. Sumin urged. Don't lose yourself in the connection. But Hanwol was already too deep in the shared consciousness. For several critical minutes, the surgical team worried they might lose both patient and doctor to the unprecedented neural link. Then Dr. Hyunwoo made a breakthrough. I've successfully repaired the main damage to the first heart, he announced. The 3-heart system should be fully functional now. The success seemed to strengthen both Hanwol and Sharptooth. The cub's vital signs improved dramatically, and Hanwol regained some individual awareness. How much longer? Hanwol asked, his voice stronger. Maybe 2 more hours to finish the remaining repairs, Dr. Hyunwoo said. The hardest part is done, through the neural. Hour 18 arrived like the dawn after the longest night. Dr. Hyunwoo carefully closed the last incision on Sharptooth's chest. The 3 hearts beat in perfect rhythm, their electrical connections fully restored. All major repairs are complete, Hyunwoo announced. Vital signs are stable and strong. Through the neural connection, Hanwol felt a wave of relief and strength flowing from Sharptooth. The small cub's mind was clear and bright, no longer clouded by pain and fear. He's going to make it, Hanwol whispered, tears streaming down his face. I can feel his joy. Dr. Sumin checked her equipment. We need to gradually reduce the anesthesia and disconnect the neural link. This is the most dangerous part. Why? Nurse Yujin asked. Because we don't know if Dr. Kim and Sharptooth can exist separately anymore, Sumin explained. Their consciousnesses have been connected for 3 hours. The separation could be traumatic for both of them. What's the safest way to do it? Dr. Minho asked. Slowly and carefully, Sumin said. I'll reduce the connection strength gradually, while Dr. Jae Hwan reduces the anesthesia. We need to wake them both up at the same time. Hanwol felt the connection beginning to fade. It was like watching a beautiful sunset, sad but natural. Through the weakening link, he sent final messages of love and encouragement to Sharptooth. You're going to see your father soon, he whispered. You're going to grow up strong and wise. You're going to see many stars and ask many questions. Sharptooth's response was a feeling of gratitude so pure and powerful that it took Hanwol's breath away. Even in his young mind, the cub understood that this human had saved his life. Reducing neural connection to 50%, Dr. Sumin announced. Hanwol felt the separation like a gentle pulling apart. His own thoughts became clearer, but he missed the warmth of Sharptooth's presence. 25% connection, Suman continued. Beginning to reduce anesthesia, Dr. Jaehwan added. Brain activity is increasing normally. 10% connection. Han Wol could barely feel Sharptooth now, just a faint whisper of the bond they had shared. 5%. Final separation in 3, 2, 1, disconnect. The neural link ended. Han Wol staggered slightly as his consciousness became fully his own again. On the operating table, Sharptooth's eyes began to flutter open. He's waking up, Yujin said excitedly. Sharptooth's golden eyes opened fully and looked around the operating room with curiosity rather than fear. When his gaze found Han Wol, the small cub made a soft chittering sound that the translator identified as contentment. All systems are functioning normally, Dr. Taejun reported. Heart function is perfect. Nervous system is stable. The healing process is continuing on its own. Dr. Hyunwoo smiled with exhaustion and relief. It's over. We did it, but Han Wol was not finished yet. He gently approached the operating table and looked down at Sharptooth. The small cub reached up with one tiny claw and touched Han Wol's hand. In that moment, even without the neural connection, both of them felt something special. A bond that would last forever, created through shared struggle and mutual trust. Hello, little warrior, Han Wol said softly. Welcome back. The operating room doors opened and Warlord Korax entered. The massive alien had been waiting for 18 hours, and his relief was visible even through his fierce exterior. When Korax saw his cub sitting up and alert, the proud warrior's composure finally broke. Tears flowed down his scarred face as he approached the operating table. My son, Korax said in his deep voice. My brave, strong son. Sharptooth made happy, chittering sounds and reached toward his father. Korax gently lifted the small cub, being careful of the healing wounds. The surgery was successful, Han Wol told Korax. Sharptooth will need time to recover completely, but he's going to be fine. Korax looked at Han Wol with an expression of wonder and gratitude. You have done the impossible. You have saved my heir, my bloodline, my empire. We did what any doctors would do, Han Wol said modestly. No, Korax said firmly. What you did was beyond medicine. You connected your life to my son's life. You shared his pain and gave him your strength. The warlord knelt on one knee, still holding Sharptooth carefully. By the ancient laws of my people, you are now family. You are Sharptooth's blood brother, sworn protector and honored clan member. I don't understand, Han Wol said. Translator Yunbi stepped forward. It's the highest honor a Korthak can give. Warlord Korax is making you part of his family. Korax stood and spoke in formal tones. Dr. Han Wol Kim, I declare before my warriors and before the stars themselves. You are kin to the Bloodclaw clan. Our enemies are your enemies. Our strength is your strength. Our loyalty is yours forever. The other Korthak warriors who had been waiting in the corridor entered the operating room. These massive, frightening aliens all knelt before Han Wol, showing respect that had never been given to any human before. Furthermore, Korax continued, I declare eternal alliance between the Korthak Empire and the human species. Any who threaten humans will face the wrath of the Bloodclaw fleet. Han Wol was overwhelmed. In saving one small life, he had changed the political landscape of the entire galaxy. There's something else, Dr. Suman said quietly. The neural connection has left permanent traces. Dr. Kim and Sharptooth will always have a faint link to each other. What does that mean? Korax asked. It means they'll be able to sense each other's emotions across any distance, Sumin explained. They'll always know if the other is safe or in danger. Sharptooth chittered happily and reached toward Han Wol. When Han Wol touched the cub's tiny hand, both of them felt the connection. Not as strong as during surgery, but real and permanent. A bond between species, Korax said with awe. This has never happened before in all of galactic history. Over the following days, news of the miraculous surgery spread across known space. The story of the human doctor who operated for 18 hours straight to save a Korthak cub became legend. Other alien species began to view humans differently. The small, soft humans were no longer seen as weak newcomers to the galaxy. They were recognized as beings capable of extraordinary compassion and skill. Dr. Sujin Bayek, the station's psychologist, studied the permanent bond between Han Wol and Sharptooth. This connection could be the key to understanding consciousness across different species, she theorized. Ambassador Hai Jin Yu negotiated formal alliance treaties with the Korthak Empire. The galaxy's most feared warriors would now protect human colonies and trade routes. Security Chief Jin Wu still couldn't believe what had happened. 18 hours ago, we thought we were all going to die if that cub didn't survive. Now we have the most powerful military alliance in the galaxy. But for Han Wul, the politics and treaties were less important than the small moments, like when Sharptooth sent him feelings of happiness during his recovery. Or when the young cub asked his first question after surgery, "Why did the human save me?" Korax had answered his son simply, "Because that is what humans do. They heal instead of hurt. They build instead of destroy. They hope instead of fear." Weeks later, as Sharptooth grew stronger and more curious, he spent hours asking Han Wul questions about human medicine, human culture, and human dreams. The young Korthak was fascinated by the idea of beings who chose to help rather than conquer. "Will I ever be like a human?" Sharptooth asked one day through the translator. "You'll always be Korthak," Han Wul replied. "But maybe you can be the kind of Korthak who builds bridges between different peoples." Korax overheard this conversation and nodded approvingly. "Perhaps my son will indeed bring peace instead of war," he said. "Perhaps he will unite species instead of conquering them." The neural bond between Han Wul and Sharptooth continued to fascinate scientists. Dr. Mi Young, Cho discovered that the connection was allowing both minds to grow in unexpected ways. Han Wul was developing enhanced pattern recognition skills, while Sharptooth was showing unusual empathy for other species. "They're teaching each other," Dr. Cho explained. "The human is learning Korthak mental abilities, and the Korthak is learning human emotional intelligence." As months passed, the alliance between humans and Korthak proved beneficial to both species. Human medical technology helped reduce Korthak warrior casualties, while Korthak military protection allowed human colonies to expand safely. But the most important change was in how the galaxy viewed the power of compassion. The story of the 18-hour surgery became a symbol of what could be accomplished when beings chose to help, rather than harm. Years later, when Sharptooth had grown into a young adult Korthak, he would become the first of his species to study medicine. He wanted to learn how to heal like his human blood brother. "Why do you want to be a doctor?" reporters asked him. "Because I learned something important during my surgery," Sharptooth replied. "The greatest strength is not the ability to destroy your enemies. The greatest strength is the ability to save your friends." The bond between Han Wul and Sharptooth became a bridge between species, proving that understanding and compassion could overcome any difference. Where weapons had failed to bring peace, one doctor's determination to save a small life had changed the galaxy forever. In the end, Han Wul realized that he had not just saved Sharptooth's life. By refusing to give up, by connecting his own life to that of a dying alien cub, he had saved countless lives across the stars.